couple of months ago, I posted on my Facebook page that I wanted to do another DIY inspired by a good book, and you guys left so many good suggestions. In fact, it made me want to download so many more books. But then I looked at my library and it's kind of full already, so I thought I should probably get through some of those first. I know this book has been out for a while now, but I finally got a chance to listen to the Steve Jobs book, and I don't know if you've seen the actual book, but it's pretty thick, and I think that's why I never got around to reading it. It's easier for me to get through books and more enjoyable to read them when I can listen to them while I work on projects or drive or like even fold laundry. I think I just like to multitask. By the way, as I mentioned before, Audible still has it where you can get a month for free along with a free audiobook of your choice, and I'll put the link in the description below where you can get that. It's audible.com/clemon if you're interested. So before I jump into the project, I just want to say that this is a good book. It's a totally honest, no limits bio on the life of Steve Jobs. He's so interesting to read about. Basically, his work surrounds my life. I have an iPhone and a MacBook that I use every day. While I was figuring out this week's tutorial, I think I just had computers on my brain, and in this video I want to show you a project that I've been wanting to work on for a while now. DIY mouse pads using pixel art. My mouse pad is so old and it totally needed a refresh, but the material was still good, so I thought it would be fun to add some 8-bit pixel art to it and try some other variations as well. I also think these could make some cool GIFs. If you want to use some different type of artwork or material, that's totally fine too. I'm a big fan of pixel art and I just think it's a cool art form. However, I'm a total beginner at making it myself. You can follow along to see how I made it, and I'll also include a really good beginner tutorial that I found helpful in the description below, so check that out, and I'll also include a full list of the supplies and links to everything I used down there as well. The first one I'm going to show you is the heart, and I think that one is the easiest to make out of the bunch. Hopefully my desktop doesn't distract you too much. I'm just going to start this in Photoshop, but of course use whatever program that you feel more comfortable with. So for the heart, I'm doing 10 by 10 pixels, 300 resolution. You want to make sure that it's on square pixels, and I'm just naming it heart. If you're also making this in Photoshop, I definitely recommend checking out the tutorial I mentioned in the video description below, and that will help you set everything up. I'm using the grid that it has as a guide, but if you want to be able to turn that on and off, you can just go up to View and to Extras, or you can use the keyboard shortcut. Starting on a fresh layer, then I'm going to the pencil to make the pixels, and you want to make sure the pencil is on 1 pixel size. Now you can just follow along with me to make the heart shape, and I'm kind of basing this on the Zelda heart, but of course you can make whatever heart shape that you like. It's just a really simple heart to make, and I'm going to fill it in with red and leave a little white on the left as a highlight, and then add a little dimension by putting a darker red on the right side. And you can easily change the color just by changing the hue to make whatever color heart you want. Now to print this, I'm going to change the image size and make it about 10 by 10 inches. And since we're blowing this up, you want to make sure that it's on nearest neighbor hard edges so that it doesn't print out blurry. Then it's ready to print. And in that print window, I'm going to adjust the size, and there really is no correct mousepad size. As long as it's in the ballpark of 8 inches around there, either width or height, you're good to go. You can even do some test prints and put your mouse on top of the paper to see if it's the right size, and get my print quality at high, and then it's ready to print. There's also apps that you can use to make pixel art. I was actually listening to the book while I was drawing, and when I opened the app, what? There was already a pixel art of Steve Jobs in it. That was too much of a coincidence. And I'm just making the same heart in this, just to show you can make it in apps as well, and I'll include a link to the one that I'm using here in the description below. After you save a high-res image from an app, let's say you don't have Photoshop, you can still print it out. I used Preview here, or you can use any image viewing program you want, and I'm just cropping it because it makes it easier for printing. And in the print preview, adjust the placement and the size, and then it's ready to print. But before I print, I also wanted to try out an old Mac OS paint bucket icon. But this one, I made the document size 20 by 20 pixels, and it's really up to you what size document you want to make your art on. And here I needed to make it a little taller to be like the icon. Just pulled that up and erase some parts. Then I made the overall canvas a little larger, then played with some different colors in the background. Then I did the same thing I did with the heart, just increase the image size for printing. At this point, I was like, what else can I make with pixels? So I tried a Space Invader, and if you don't know what that is, it's from an old arcade game and it's also an emoji. And for reference, I just looked at the emoji to make this one. And you don't have to make pixel art based on just icons. Once you start doing it, you can kind of draw anything you want. You can add a highlight to it or shading or a black outline, but once you start to get familiar with the 8-bit kind of look, you can really make anything look like it's straight from an arcade game or a retro computer screen or any video game. For those of you who play Minecraft, of course that game is full of pixel art to be inspired by. So I made the grass block on a 16 pixel square canvas and just referenced images for the colors. Alright, now to print all the pixel art, I'm using printable fabric sheets. And the texture on the fabric side I think is perfect for mouse pads, and the other side has heat bond adhesive, so all I have to do is iron it on. I put it in my Inkjet printer, textured side up, and printed everything out. For the bottom of the mouse pads, I chose to use this material that's made for shelf liners. You can find this at hardware stores, and you can also use craft foam, but I preferred this because it has a nice grip onto the table so my mouse pad won't move. I place the printouts on top of the shelf liner, and if you need to, you can trim around the printed artwork just to save material. Then iron them on following the instructions that came with your printable fabric. Then let them cool off for a while just so that the glue has time to set flat. If you want to refresh your existing mouse pad like I am here, just flip it over, and I think it helps to mark where the edges are so I can center it. Put the mouse pad face down onto the adhesive side, hold them together and flip it over, and iron it on. Then trim them all out, and just a tip, I recommend using a new blade for this just to avoid any snags or tears on the fabric. If you use a dull blade, that will happen. And another tip, if it bugs you that the white fabric is showing through on a black print, you can cover that up with a permanent marker. I'm so happy I was able to refresh my old icky mouse pad to look like new, and I'm really happy with how all of these turned out. I'm finding it hard to use just one, I want to use them all. If this video inspires you to make your own mouse pads or pixel art, I would love to see any project pictures you want to share, so go ahead and share those on my social links. For more videos, be sure to subscribe to my channel, Sea Lemon, and here are some other videos that you might like as well. You can always find more videos on my channel page. As always, you can find all the links and more information in the video description below. So which mousepad was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that like button.